You walk into a room and forget why you came in. You read a page of a book and realize you cannot recall what you just read. Someone tells you their name, and within minutes it dissolves. It begins to feel as if your memory is slowly weakening. Not dramatically, just subtly. You start questioning yourself. Why can't I remember simple things anymore? It is easy to interpret these moments as decline. You may worry that your memory is getting worse with age, or that you are simply not as sharp as before. But in many cases, the issue is not memory capacity. It is attention quality. You are not unintelligent. You are not losing your mind. In a world of constant notifications, multitasking, and background noise, overstimulation can mimic memory loss. When attention is fragmented, encoding weakens. And when encoding weakens, recall feels unreliable. Memory does not begin with recall. It begins with attention. If your focus is divided while reading, caught as listening or observing, your brain does not form strong neural traces. Multitasking reduces the depth of encoding. Add chronic stress or poor sleep, and retrieval becomes even more inconsistent. The problem is rarely that your brain cannot remember. It is that your brain was never given a calm enough moment to store properly. In many Japanese learning traditions, emphasis is placed not on speed, but on rhythm. Craftsmanship values deep focus over rapid output. Haichi martial arts practice values repetition over intensity. Learning is treated as steady exposure rather than last-minute cramming. You do not need to study more aggressively. You need to remember differently. Memory grows in calm minds. When attention steadies, retention follows. There is a belief that multitasking makes you efficient. You answer messages while listening to a podcast. You read while checking notifications. You study with multiple tabs open. It feels productive. It feels fast. But memory does not reward speed. It rewards presence. When you divide your attention, your brain switches rapidly between tasks. Each switch carries a cognitive cost. The neural trace for what you are learning becomes thinner. Encoding requires sustained focus. Without it, information passes through your awareness without settling. In Japanese craftsmanship culture, the shokunin mindset emphasizes deep, singular focus. A craftsperson shaping wood does not check messages between cuts. A calligrapher writing characters does not rush strokes. The value is in immersion. When attention narrows, learning deepens. You can begin with a simple practice. Set a 20-minute block for one task. Close unnecessary tabs. Silence notifications. During that time, do only one thing. It may feel uncomfortable at first. Your mind will want stimulation, but if you remain with the task, you will notice something subtle. Information begins to stick. What you fully attend to, you retain. Many people read something once and assume that is enough. You finish a chapter, close the book, and move on. But memory rarely strengthens through a single exposure. It strengthens through rhythm. When you revisit information after a short delay, your brain reinforces the neural pathway. This is why spaced repetition works, not because it is intense, but because it is timed. The act of returning to the material tells your brain that it matters. In Japan, students often practice kana writing repeatedly, not as punishment, but as pattern building. In martial arts, practitioners repeat kata, the same sequence of movements, again and again. The repetition is not mindless, it is structured. Each return strengthens precision. You do not need hours of review. After learning something new, Revisit it briefly the next day for 5 minutes. Read it once more. Rewrite a key point. The gap between exposures strengthens durability. Slow repetition builds stable memory. Another quiet shift is verbal summarizing. Passive consumption creates familiarity, but familiarity is not retention. You may recognize information when you see it again, but struggle to recall it independently. Retrieval strengthens memory more than rereading. In many traditional classrooms in Japan, recitation aloud is common. Speaking reinforces recall. When you retrieve information from memory and articulate it, you deepen the neural trace. After reading or learning something, pause and summarize it aloud in 1 minute. Do not look at your notes. Speak what you remember. It may feel awkward, but this small act activates retrieval. The effort to recall strengthens the memory more than passive review ever could. Memory is not built through pressure. It is built through repetition and retrieval, and both require calm focus more than intensity. Many people type everything. Notes on laptops, highlights on tablets, endless digital storage. And yet, when asked to recall what they learned, they struggle. Typing feels efficient, but it often becomes transcription rather than processing. The hands move quickly, but the brain does not always engage deeply. Handwriting slows you down. And that slowness is not a disadvantage. It forces selection. You cannot write every word, so you must choose what matters. That act of choosing activates deeper encoding. The physical motion of forming letters also adds motor memory to the cognitive trace. In Japan, calligraphy is more than writing. It is discipline. Each stroke is deliberate. The brush does not rush. The body, breath, and hand coordinate. That embodied attention strengthens focus and retention. You can experiment by writing key ideas by hand instead of typing them. Not everything, just the core points. The slower pace improves clarity. When your body participates in learning, memory strengthens. Another overlooked factor is movement. Sitting for long periods reduces blood flow, including to the brain. When the body remains still for too long, attention dulls. And when attention dulls, encoding weakens. In many Japanese environments, walking meetings and temple stair climbs are common. Movement is integrated naturally into daily life. Even brief physical activity increases circulation and oxygen delivery, which supports cognitive function. Before studying or learning, take a 5-minute walk. It does not need to be intense, just enough to increase circulation. After moving, return to your material. You may notice sharper focus and improved recall. Memory thrives in bodies that are not stagnant. One of the most underestimated components of memory is pause. We move from one piece of information to the next without giving the brain time to settle. You finish reading a paragraph and immediately scroll. You watch a video and instantly open another. There is no gap. And without a gap, consolidation struggles to occur. Memory strengthens not only during learning, but during brief stillness afterward. When you pause, neural pathways begin to stabilize. If you flood the brain with new input immediately, the previous trace remains fragile. In Japanese aesthetics, there is a concept called the intentional pause or empty space between actions. In music, it is the silence between notes. In architecture, it is the space between objects. That pause gives meaning to what surrounds it. You can apply this to learning by adding a 30-second pause after reading or studying something. Close your eyes. Breathe once or twice. Let the information settle without introducing new input. This short silence signals to your brain that what you just encountered deserves integration. Without pause, learning becomes noise. With pause, learning becomes memory. Finally, there is sleep. Many people try to compensate for poor retention by studying longer at night. But late-night cramming often harms the very process it aims to strengthen. Memory consolidation occurs during sleep, particularly during deep and REM stages. If sleep is irregular or shortened, the brain has less opportunity to store what you learned. In Japan, predictable daily routines are common. Consistent sleep times support stable circadian rhythms. Regularity strengthens biological processes, including memory consolidation. You can improve memory not by extending study hours, but by protecting sleep rhythm. Choose a consistent bedtime. Avoid heavy stimulation before sleep. Let your brain complete its work overnight. Your memory is not broken. Your attention is fragmented. Your pauses are missing, and your sleep may be inconsistent. Memory is calm repetition. When you slow your mind, your memory begins to stay.